Hey everybody, Professor Doom here. A lot of interesting things to cover, and I have a couple of theories that I'm going to kick around. We can debate these theories in the comment section if anybody has any alternate theories or some things that they want to talk about. I'm always open to communicate in the comment section, as you know. So there's a lot of interesting things going on with the CMEs, or something causing the certain cell phone carriers from working today, and even landlines were out in certain areas. That was pretty interesting. So let's get into some theories that I have about the alleged horned comet. We're going to be talking about that pons-brooks comet that is now being reportedly seen in or near the head of the constellation Draco. But first, I want to remind everybody about a theory that I had about the wobble to the Earth. Okay, again, it's beyond the scope to talk about all of whether we live on a globe or a flat surface. I'm not going to get into all that at the moment. I want to talk about the whole theories that we got going on here that I want to propose to everybody. Okay, so I created a video about the alleged wobble to the Earth that scientists were reporting that it's being caused by water depletion from water reservoirs over usage. Okay. I've already stated that my theory is that there's a celestial body on the approach, and it is causing a gravitational disturbance on our planet. I want to also state that it's no big mystery to everybody that I do believe that the ancient gods were ancient visitors to our planet. That should not be a big mystery to anybody. I've made that perfectly clear with a lot of my videos that I created about the true identity of Enki, Moloch, all of those, Saturn, Cronus, everything. So it should be no big mystery there. Now, let's get into the theory here. Scientists detect signs that a crucial ocean current is near collapse. Okay, so think about this. If the moon causes a gravitational pull on our planet, or vice versa, and it creates tides because of that gravitational pull, is there a celestial body approach that's causing a gravitational disturbance on our planet that is hindering the currents or bringing them near collapse? Now, isn't it interesting that something in ancient times caused waters to overflow cities, Dwarka, and others off the coast of Japan? Was it Yokoguni or whatever the heck is? There's other locations. There's been cities found near Brazil under the water. There's pyramids that have been found under the water off of, I do believe it's near Brazil, isn't it? Is that what it is? Isn't it interesting that something caused these waters to overflow? Now they're talking about currents that are near collapse, and I want to say, my theory is that there is some gravitational disturbance going on from a celestial body approach that could be bringing these currents to a halt. Just like the moon creates the tides, it stays, and if it's at a certain distance from our Earth, the moon is, and it creates the tides. If there's a larger celestial object that is approaching, wouldn't it bring the currents, especially because they're talking about the Atlantic Ocean here, and the approach from a celestial body from a certain direction would cause this current collapse or a halting of these currents because of the approach from that direction? Is that a possibility? Now, let's talk about the horned or winged comet. Let's talk about that. Approach of this comet, pons-brooks, is that as it approaches, it's been getting brighter and brighter, and they go on to say brightening by 5 magnitudes. Now you can see it in a 6-inch telescope, and you're going to be able to see it with the naked eye come April of next year. That's what's being reported. Let's take a look at some of the interesting information about the locale of the comet now and the direction that it's coming from. Fortunately, the sky was clear on the night of July 20th, and the comet neared the zenith not far from the head of Draco. Not far from the head of Draco. Okay? This chart will get you oriented when you're ready to get up your telescope. The view faces north about 2 hours after local sunset. The comet slowly crosses the head of the dragon in the next few weeks. Okay, and you already saw, did you guys see the image of what the comet looks like? I'm sure you guys have. Now, they're calling this horns. They're calling it horned comet. But I want to throw out another possibility. Are these wings? Are these not horns, but are they wings to the ancients? And what do I mean? Let's take a look at the depiction of the ancient disc, or the winged disc, that was seen by many, many civilizations, and they depicted this disc with wings. Where did the Egyptians say that this star or winged disc could be seen from? Draco, the forgotten constellation. The constellation Draco appears in the myths and legends of every major ancient civilization. The Babylonians worshipped it as a god. These days, few of us would recognize it if it fell on our heads. It's hard to understand why Draco is huge, the eighth largest constellation in the heavens. It is prominently placed near the most familiar star in the sky, Polaris. All you have to do is look north, Draco Serpentine, blah, blah, blah. Draco was an important constellation to the ancients in large part because of a single star, which was fervently worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. However, the star and its present constellation aren't particularly bright, and these days it isn't even particularly well placed in the sky. Why was it so important, and why isn't it important now? What if we're actually misunderstanding about the star that they were talking about? What if this star is actually this comet that is approaching in the constellation Draco? And it's going to become brighter and brighter as it approaches. So, like I think I said in the beginning of this is no mystery about me believing that the ancient gods were extraterrestrial or alien visitors. Isn't it interesting that every single civilization talks about how the gods were on Earth with us at some time in the past? The Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Sumerians, the Assyrians, the Akkadians, the Canaanites. Did I mention the Babylonians? The Zep-Tepi of the Egyptians was a time when the god Ra and other gods were on this earth was with mankind. That's what Zep-Tepi means, the first time. The time for the Romans and the Greeks was the golden age of man, when gods were on the earth with mankind. It's no big mystery who I believe the ancient gods were. Now, all you have to do is look to your Bible and you will see there was a time when those gods were on the earth, were mankind, and then they disappeared. So I've been asking myself, Is the approach of this comet, just like we've been seeing these bright lights in the sky, just like we're seeing mass amounts of volcanoes, just like we're seeing mass amounts of CMEs, are there objects? I gave a demonstration with I gave an example with the movie Armageddon. If there is a celestial object out there, call it a big, huge asteroid, are there other things in its gravitational path with it that are coming? And there are objects we're going to be seeing in the sky that are coming with it. Bright lights, comets, whatever the case is. Is there now going to be a time that we can say there are going to be gods on the earth with mankind? Is the celestial object that is coming, if there is one, this is the theory of mine, that they are going to be ushering with it the return of the ancient gods. Now, let's take a look at some of the depictions of the winged disk and how all of these ancient civilizations all depicted this winged disk. There's variations about the appearance of their presentation, but I'm going to show you one of the Egyptians that's really, really interesting. This picture upside down, would it not have the appearance of a horned disc? Would it not? And this, according to them, this is why the constellation Draco was so revered about this winged disc. You could call it a sun disc, you can call it the winged disc, whatever you want to call it. It was associated with the constellation Draco, just like we're seeing some horned comet right now. I would venture to call those wings and not horns. But hey, I could be wrong. This is a theory that I'm kicking out there, everybody. Let's take a look at the ancients' depiction of the winged disc. Now remember, why did everybody revere this winged object that would be seen in the sky? That's my whole point. Why? This is just a picture I took of different civilizations. There's the one for the Assyrians where the god Asher is in the winged disc is not even presented here, but just remember that one as well. And you have them in South America, Egypt, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, even Göbekli Tepe has the appearance of a wing with a sphere on this creature who's ever holding it. And then, of course, you have the round disc on top of Horus's head. But let me do this. Is this running? It is. I was hard-pressed to remember the name of this underground locale that was found through a cave in China. And if you look at this, and if you think about all of the other locales like Derinkuyu, the Hypogeum of Malta, and many others that we have yet to find, why did these ancient peoples desire to dig underground the way that they did to live? Did they know that there was something approaching that they were in fear of? That's a question. Think about that. Think about the stories that were being told about Derinkuyu, how the Christians were in fear of the Muslim attack. So they built underground facilities. What is it? Seven layers, seven stages underground. Yet, wait a minute. How long would it have taken them to build that And they could have been attacked at any time as they were working. I don't believe that it was built by them. And I don't believe that that was the purpose of why it was built. And I don't believe that the purpose they claim here, this Longyu China or the Longyu underground, whatever this is being called, there was reasons why these underground facilities were built. Yeah. Now, it goes without saying, I could be wrong about all this. I could be wrong about the wobble. I could be wrong about what's causing all these mass CMEs, the volcanoes, the lights in the sky. The comet could be just a benign comet that makes an appearance every so often. Yeah. Again, sorry about the interruption. I could be wrong about all this, but you guys do have to admit that there is a lot going on out there in around our Earth right now that we haven't seen. I can't even, and not in my lifetime have I seen CMEs in cycles like these. I haven't seen volcanoes. I remember when they were going off at like Mount St. Helens in the 80s, and that was like a huge thing. Well, it was because it happened in the United States. I think the next big one that we talked about was that one in Iceland in 2011 that spewed out all this ash, and planes had to be diverted, or they had to be brought out of the skies. There is so much going on right now that it begs the question, what is causing all of these activities? And I'm open to all of your guys' theories and suggestions. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thanks, everybody.